that wouldn't be very 128 by 128. But it would fit, and the reason I say that is because we're doing it by 25, so we could fit about 5 in them, it looks like. So that isn't going to work. How about a 256 by 256? Can we get all that in there? Yeah, actually we can get quite a bit in there. Whoops, I did the wrong one, my bad. Divided by 25. We can actually fit about 10 in there. A little extra space, no big deal. That'll work, because we don't want to make it too big, because it's just a simple sprite sheet. But we want to make sure it'll all fit in there so we can do it properly. It's important to note that since we're doing it this way as well, that it's only going to have one column as a sprite, because since it's 256 by 256, we could fit 2 pieces, so we could do 2 columns if we wanted. It's really up to you. Sprite sheets are a little complicated. They take a little getting used to. The book does cover it, so you're not going to be alone in this. So we'll go ahead and do a 256 by 256 spreadsheet. And transparent. Alright. Do 16-bit. That's fine. So we go ahead and set that up. There it is. Boom. And there's our sprite sheet. We'll go ahead and zoom this in a bit so we can really get a good look at it. And then we'll go ahead and copy our template here. Oh, no, I want to copy merge because we have 2 layers here. And I'm going to go ahead and paste it. There's our first column and our first sprite. Very, very simple. And then when I'm ready to change whatever I want to change, like I just want to change what it says, I can go ahead and just do it here in our template. And then copy merged and paste. Just like that. Very, very basic sprite sheet. I do have snap on, so it'll automatically snap together and be all nice and pretty. Now, the alpha blending and stuff like that, the transparency is important for it. Obviously, we don't have much transparency here. Not a big deal. But that's alright. So we have north, south, obviously, east and west. Now, it's important to remember the order that you put this stuff in, because when you're going to program it here, as you'll see, we need to know, make sure we bring up the right sprite. Otherwise, you could go north, and all of a sudden your west sprite could come up, and that just won't look right. Now see, we don't have enough room to fit here, but we can just go ahead and move down to the next column, just making sure it snaps properly. So we'll quickly get all these, trying to center them as much as possible, so when they actually change, they'll look fairly correct. Okay, west. So there's our basic 4 directions. Now we'll go ahead and do our other 4 directions. So we have north, we're going to do it as northwest first. Copy merged. And northeast. It's going to be quite a few sprites because of the different directions you can go here. Not too many, but okay. So there's that. So now we have, oops, sorry about that. I was paying attention again. See? Southwest. Copy that over. Paste that right there. Looks good. And then we'll of course just go ahead and change that to east. And copy merged. And paste. And obviously we have a lot of extra space here, but that's okay. If we wanted to do different colors, for example, or something like that, anything else to get a little more fancy to make use of this extra space, we could certainly do that. We could even try to make a basic animation out of it too, if we really wanted to. But right now we're just after a very basic sprite sheet. So there we go. We have all 8 directions: north, south, east, west, northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast. Very simple. So we'll save this as a ping file, of course. And we're going to go very simple, just going to call it compass. Okay, all done. Now I'm going to keep it up so I can refer to it, because I'll need to do that. Now that we actually have our overlay, it's time to add the element. Okay. Element works much like label. Few differences, obviously. The first thing we need is, of course, the ID. In this case, it's 0, because it's the first element we're adding. And then, of course, there is no name. It actually just asks for the image. Since it's a tile sheet, or a sprite sheet, sorry, that we're pulling from for information and stuff, it's actually going to be that sprite sheet. So in this case, it's called compass.png. And now the actual word's going to draw it. So we want it not all the way to the right, pretty much the middle, basically. And we know we have so much room from our labels. So I'm going to say, just for the sake of argument, we'll start it at 300 and see what happens from there. The actual top, since we're using the entire 25, we want to keep it as 0 for its height. So we make sure it actually does the entire space that it's supposed to. That's the size. Sorry, I messed up there. I got ahead of myself. That's supposed to be the actual size. That's the actual size of the image and what we want to show. Even though the sprite sheet is very big, it's 256 by 256, the actual image we want to show on the screen is only 100 by 25. So that we put that in there. Then we put in the actual position. My apologies. 300, 0. Alright, now how many columns does it have? Well, it only has 2. We know this because that's all we could fit. We have 2 columns. So we'll just set that as 2. Is it visible? Yes, we want it visible. Is it usable? Can the user click on it? No, it's not supposed to be. Transparency, brightness, I haven't, and color, I really haven't implemented. So honestly, what I put here does not really matter. But we'll go ahead and put. And there we go. So now the basic overlay is in there. Now we're going to go ahead and add it so we can actually start drawing it just down here. Just like our labels, we're just going to simply add. We're just going to simply add this. It's true. Dot. That's simple. That's all there is to it. Make sure I remembered it right. It helps when you remember it right. Yep. Image, draw frame. Cool. So I remembered it right. Woo! Yay for me. So now we actually got it where we'll draw it and everything like that. Now we actually need to make it work. We'll do that in a minute. We're going to test it again because of why? Well, we want to make sure it's positioned right. We do need to set something though, so it will actually appear properly. I need to add something here. I just realized. In game, select case ID, case 0. Since we have different sprites and everything, we need to specify which one it is, and then that's what this is going to handle. This will also make it easy for us to change it later on. So ID am 1 and. Now the reason I use it quite a few times is because this is element animation. But since this is we don't actually have an animation like a walking animation or anything like that. We're not trying to draw that. We just want to change the image. That's what this does. So now that that's set up, we can actually set this up right. So for the sake of argument, for right now, we're actually going to do this. My bad. See, element display. That's right. Okay. So for now, we want to do element display 0, which is the element, and the animation, which is basically the frame of your sprite for now. For now, since we're doing just a test, frame 0 will work just fine. Now it's done 0 base, not base, because basically what you're doing here is just like with anything else. This is frame 0, this is frame 1, this is frame 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so on and so forth. Whoops, hit the wrong button. So now we got that set up. Now we can actually go in game and make sure we've got it positioned the way we want, and then we can start coding when you actually move how it changes. And there it is.